So here's a demo to show what I have done for CSC 588 Milestone 2. So just to go into how the engine itself works, it will start up the game, and then afterwards in the load content it will start up the playback manager and the file manager, which will start the audio threads and the file threads respectively. So just taking a look at that, you can see that here it'll detach the audio thread, and then for the file it'll do the same thing. And once we want to exit, we press the Q key, which will destroy the playback manager and send a command over to the audio thread in order to destroy it, and it'll do the same thing for the file thread. So going into how to actually play a sound, you create a sound object with its sound ID, and from that you load it to send a command over to the audio thread side in order to create an audio buffer object, as you can see here. And this audio buffer object can be used to create a source voice when it wants to play a sound. And these source voices are guarded by handles just in case multiple threads want to access them at once. Similarly, the sounds are also guarded by handles, and the sound priority table is guarded by a handle as well. The other commands that can be done through the sound are load it in order to create the audio buffer object on the audio thread. You can set the volume in the pan, and you can play it. And then there are other commands that you can send over to the audio thread as well, but those aren't built into the functionality of sound, so they are out like this. And just going into how the audio thread and the file thread work is they read off commands that are sent into them through circular command buffers, and they execute them before deleting the appropriate value or command. And the file thread will do the same thing. So time to start up the demos themselves so that you can listen to what they sound like. So this will be spinning here and pressing 1 to start. And that was demo 1. So you can see for the stereo and print time one, the print times can be seen in relation to when they started playing right here. So moving on to demo 2, which I forgot to mention, all the demos can be started by pressing keys 1 through 5 in order to start each of the demos. And for all of them, the WAV files are loaded beforehand before the time commands do the rest. So starting demo 2. And that was the stitching of the voices so that they play together, and the pan will carry over through the changes in voices. So starting number 3, which will show the priority table and how that works. And there you go for the priority table. I have these printing at 0.1 second afterwards because that way it'll ensure that it starts the next sound before printing out the table again to avoid repeats. So just going through the tables, you can see it starts out with the first 3, priority of 10, 50, and 150. And then it goes down to here and adds in the 50, 75, and 100 at times 1, 2, and 3. Then at 4, it will replace the 10 with a 150. After that, it replaces the 50 with a 75. It'll replace the other 50 with another 75. And then after that, the 75 with the longest time will be replaced with another 75, like so. And then finally, the last 150 will replace the first 75 like this, and then at the end when all of them are stopped, they are all removed from the sound priority table. Going on to demo 4 to show the callbacks. And as you can see, once each of the sounds ended, they sent their respective callback, which you can see their names here. And it'll include the file name, which handle they have, the duration, and the pan that each one was assigned, which was left for the first, or for A, C, and D, and right for B. And then on to the final demo, which will show the asynchronous file loading, as shown by this different loading style. And then at time 60, it stops the final sound that was starting to play there. So as you can see, as soon as the file callback started, the original sound 501 for the electro was stopped, which is because a stop command was embedded into the file callback, so that once the file callback finished running, it also executed the stop command. And finally, to show how to quit, you press Q, which will end all the threads, and then escape will get you out with no memory leaks whatsoever. And finally, just to show the callbacks a little bit, they are just executed once the file is done loading, it'll execute this, and then if there's a command, it'll run the command. And then for the user callback, which is here, it'll do the same thing. And once it's done, it'll remove the sound from the priority table, like was shown before. And that basically sums up what I have done for this demo.